Welcome to the next session for Aligned 2017, the virtual summit dedicated to all things B2B sales and marketing. I'm here today with Lena Shaw, the VP of Marketing at LeadGenius, and she is a longtime member of the SaaS community, doing very exciting things with a exciting company, and someone I've known for a long time, and I get to see occasionally. I always love talking to her, whether it's in person or digitally like we are right now. So Lena, welcome to the session. Thank you for sharing your story here with our attendees.
I appreciate the kind words, and thanks for having me, Jeremy. Pittsburgh's finest over here. So thanks again.
Yeah, no, thank you. Shouts out Pittsburgh. So let's just go ahead and jump in and give people your backstory. You've been in marketing in several facets throughout your career. So give people the rundown, what you're doing before LeadGenius, and then what you're doing now with them, and then what LeadGenius does as a company.
Where to begin? Well, in my younger years, I started more as a traditional marketing specialist, kind of focusing on more traditional advertisement. And there was a day when I started to realize that we were getting a lot of traffic from, social media outlets and blogs. So I decided to start attending some of those social media, the first social media, tweet up, the first Silicon Valley tweet up, got connected with the likes of like Brian Solis and Gary Vaynerchuk, who's also on this program as well. And in doing so, I also decided one day I was starting to get bored just with the standard, traditional advertising. And once again, I noticed that we were seeing a lot of traffic from blogs and social media. And I kind of dug into my previous cold calling experience. And I'm not sure if people remember this site, Technorati, but I kind of did a blog search, and Robert Scoble popped up. Surprisingly enough, his number was also listed on his blog. And at the time he was sponsored by Fast Company. And I pitched our service. At that time, I worked at a company called LeakFish, sorry, it's similar to the name now. And what we did was basically an aggregate search engine. So I pitched him our service, and he decided he was going to come out to our office, and he did a video interview with our CEO, and a week later published Search UI Done Better Than Google. And that was probably one of the kind of milestones for me in my career, where I started to realize that, influence can potentially break your site in one day. From there, kind of moved on into more, digital marketing, roles. Our CEO also had me started working on PR. So from there, I went over to UCSF, and now I'm here at LeadGenius. And really what I've done is kind of tackled and tapped into a lot of different areas of marketing and revenue, and now I'm applying that here at LeadGenius.
You've traversed a lot of the different facets of marketing and digital marketing, especially over the years. Yeah. So tell people now, what does LeadGenius do? You guys have a very cool sort of spot right in the heart of sales marketing alignment, correct?
Oh, we do. It's unique. Working in a company, so we're a sales and marketing team, and we're also selling to sales teams and marketers, demand gen, orgs that are experiencing similar, pain points that we are. So it's exciting at the same time working within the space. So really what LeadGenius does, we help marketing and sales teams increase their sales velocity by getting to their customers quicker, if I were to explain it very simply. So customers come to us to help, map their TAM, really understand who are their most ideal customers and the most ideal customer segments. And then we'll, work with our customers to come up with a strategy to capture and engage those segments. And another area that makes us very unique is that we can actually, tailor to your unique, business needs and business rules. And that's why companies like Square, eBay, Google, and Aptus continue to come back to us and stay with us.
Yeah, and I love you guys, love the service you provide, because we're very data-driven here. I think the opportunities for teams who want to be creative in their outreach and be incredibly targeted in how they contact prospects and gain their attention by finding out key data points about them, which could be anything from what college did you attend to I've seen like a number of different case studies where you guys had teams doing stuff like domain ranking and all kinds of crazy stuff, right?
Absolutely. For example, with Square, we were, helping them test new verticals, and by doing, micro segmentation around key attributes that help them identify different quick service restaurants. They call them QSRs, quick service restaurants that would drive more ROI for them. And they realized that QSRs that had a liquor license were more likely to close. So we enriched for that data for them, and they prioritized and segmented their sales strategy around that micro-segmentation approach. And they saw a 44% decrease in their sales cycle. So that was really exciting for us.
Wow. No, and that's like, you guys are basically the ultimate in market intelligence, because it's having a personal data gathering service giving you whatever you need to go ahead and optimize your outreach.
Yeah, you absolutely kind of touched on one area that I didn't mention, that we're not just looking at just software and technology alone. We also have, human intellect that we've essentially automated, in a sense that we have researchers around the world that also, essentially make our database smarter. So we're constantly updating and QAing our data as we're adding and appending. But we also can go out and find those custom attributes that are very unique to your particular business.
Absolutely, yeah, and I love it. I think so. If you want to, I just love the call. Going back to what colleges you attend example. So if you want to, try to get in touch with the prospect and say, hey, I know so and so who also attended, the University of Oregon or whatever. You can have you guys give you that. You can have them give you a million other data points. I really want to talk about the two, sort of from two sides of this. Internally, how you're aligning the teams there at a company like LeadGenius, and then externally, how you guys have helped your clients decrease sales cycle length or improve targeting, things like that. So let's go ahead and start with the internal. Give people an idea of the evolution of how you guys have improved sales marketing alignment inside of LeadGenius.
Absolutely. So I would say we started, and we're probably, even now, we're at a point where we're still figuring things out, but we have matured. But we started, and it was still somewhat the wild, wild west. Marketing and sales really working together. We really needed to focus on it. Okay, how do we bring that alignment within our org, bringing on more operations professionals? And if you fast forward to today, really what has aligned us is following in the footsteps of best practices that we kind of preach to our customers. And although it's not one of our core value propositions, and we're seeing it internally, that identifying your most ideal customers involves everyone, and strategically capturing those customers over time too involves everyone. So now I spearhead our go-to-market strategy and execution. And what that means is there's a lot of project management associated with that. We are going after both mid-market, enterprise companies as well as SMB. And, both of those areas, both of those go-to-market strategies have different nuances, but at the core, we still have those key stakeholders that need to be involved in a conversation as we develop our strategy. So we're really running up market a very focused, account-based approach, whereas down market, it's a little bit slightly different. It's a little bit of a hybrid between, account-based and more of a account-based demand gen and volume and velocity, given that we aren't trying to, the complexity of orgs in down market is much different. And that's where the nuances in in our strategy kind of occur. But at the, high level, what we do every week is we bring together our sales development lead, our enterprise manager, so sales management, sales development, product marketing. We also bring in field marketing, and we bring in engineering. So we have key stakeholders from all groups, and we are reviewing our strategy and revisions that we made the week before, and seeing, okay, well, what is currently working now. But I feel that really is where that alignment occurred, is that everyone collectively agreeing on, okay, this is our most ideal customer, and then, okay, this is the approach to go out and capture those customers. I believe that's where it started, and we're continuing on with that now.
Yeah, and Todd, I'm close with the rest of your marketing team as well. I've worked with you guys on a lot of different projects. I've actually interviewed William Wicke, who's part of your team, and he said the same thing about how having sales and marketing in the same room, and then like you said with the various other departments all being in the same room once a week at least, and having that sort of face-to-face strategy and agreement on where we're at, and mind sharing on here's that's the number one thing that's been beneficial to you guys, right? As far as like getting linked up on here's the game plan going forward, here's what we need to do.
Absolutely, because when it comes to, I look at it, whether it's demand generation, account-based demand generation, customer acquisition, and actually, now that I'm saying, we also have customer success in the room as well. But once we've identified, okay, who is that ideal customer, then you need to understand, okay, what are the key activities that are going to capture that customer? And those key activities, once again, they vary up market and down market. For example, we sell to companies that sell into SMBs. So we actually specialize in helping companies increase their sales velocity, especially those that are looking for that private sector, hard to find data that isn't readily available just using technology and software alone. So we've identified, okay, those are those key characteristics. And then once we have those key activities, then you back that into, okay, what is the capacity for all those key stakeholders in the strategy? You can't just start with, well, let's just advertise. Let's just build a list of accounts of 10,000 accounts and let's just advertise to all of those accounts. Well, if your sales development function does not have the capacity to handle that inbound lead flow off of those accounts, then your strategy will break down. If you don't have the right sales demo from a product perspective to support the message that you're speaking to, in your go-to-market strategy, then the process will break down. So it's really figuring out, okay, what do you need? What are the key activities? What do you need? And then, executing on those as a team. And really that capacity really gets into, okay, your coordination. Are you moving at the same pace? And that's where that alignment, I feel, comes from.
Yeah, and that's a great point. What capacity is what can everyone handle? How big is marketing? How big is sales? What is the impact you're having? Calibrate and just right, depending on where the resources are.
Absolutely. So in our go-to-market meetings, we'll start with reporting. And you start at the top of the funnel. Okay, what are the overall, overarching, revenue goals? And then, okay, how are those broken down by market tier? And then, okay, what are the key activities? Okay, whether it's field marketing, paid demand, cold outreach, outbound, to get to those benchmarks, and then having those, having that reporting dashboard be that first line of, okay, are we actually doing what we need to do? And where are there areas that we need to improve? What's working, and let's do more of that. What isn't working, and let's filter out, those activities. So it's more of an iterative approach that we take here, not really, let's just define, let's just go after all these accounts all exactly the same way and stick to that. I feel like we learn a little bit every month. We absolutely learn something new every 6 months about our company in general. We're developing more products. We're developing more features. So having an iterative approach has been key to our success.
Yeah, and then just to ask, how many people, how big is your team? How big sales? How big is marketing? What are the different roles and constructs in those groups, and then also in customer success?
We have 5 account executives, and then we have 4 sales SDRs. And then we also have in marketing, we have 4 individuals. We have 2 content. You mentioned William, and then we also have Joe, who you also know as well. He runs field marketing, and then myself. And then customer success, we have, right now we have 4 customer success representatives, CSMs, like senior CSMs, and then we also have 6 or so project managers that are as well.
That's an interesting point there about the breakdown of and how big customer success and project management are for you guys, and why are you structured? I think there's a lot of teams who tend to be more heavy on the sales and marketing and maybe fewer on customer success, but you guys seem to be between project management and CSMs more on the other end of the spectrum.
Yeah, and I would say For some of our upmarket accounts that are more complex, that's where you might have a PM and a CSM on your account.
Mm-hmm.
And really what we've seen is, especially right now, it's hard to define this space, but the process of capturing your total addressable market over time, doing outbound, how to effectively target and engage isn't necessarily something that comes easy to all orgs. And so having more of that consultative, approach with our clients has been very helpful. And also as we build in more features that we're currently doing more manually right now, but really it's more around, well, we're doing a lot of, it's more of a consultative service that we also provide, more so than, okay, a turnkey, you're going to get a list of accounts, here you go, and figure it out on your own. That strategy to capture and engage, that service is really, our customers absolutely see the value in that, and we plan on just building, we're building on that right now.
That speaks to the quality of the service you're providing, and B, the customer focus and attention to detail with them that you guys have. And that's been one of, I know the key aspects of your success is that, and we've used you guys before, is that when you get a list enriched from you guys, as you're getting your database cleansed, it's unreal how you can't replicate that with like an API based only service or an AI service or something like that. You guys have the human touch and the ability to go in and get just very granular with everything, and ensure that everything's high quality with people's data. To that point, I want to hear this. I'm kind of excited to hear this. I know I've heard some cool stories already. So I want to know 3 of your best customer-based stories. You don't have to say who they are if you don't want to, but give me 3 examples of customers who've really seen success in aligning their sales and marketing strategies, drive growth, drive revenue, get more efficient, using you guys to help spearhead that.
Yeah, absolutely. One area that I feel we really specialize in is helping customers either identifying those buying signals that matter. So really, what are those key attributes that help you, that indicate propensity to buy? And so sometimes we have customers that they know what those key attributes are, but they don't realize they can actually go out and get those at scale, and we can do that. Or they don't know, and we're able to look at their data and help them, pull out that, those data points. So for example of that, a publicly traded energy company, we were targeting, top performing segments and personas by looking for, this is a very custom, data point, by looking for, this is going to sound weird, 500 square feet of southern-facing roof space. So wow. This is an example of where we're really using. I even had to write that note down. It's exactly 500 square feet of southern-facing roof space. And I wouldn't say this is necessarily what all of our customers come to us for, but this is an example of they knew that if they could find customers that had X, Y, and Z that had southern-facing roof space, they were going to be more likely to close. And by doing so, we increased their lift 200% within 6 months. So that was an exciting one for us. And then back to, this is one of the top point of sale services. I mentioned the name earlier, but no, actually, this is e-commerce. So this is eBay. We actually have this case study up, so I can actually say the name. I would say eBay. What we did for eBay is we actually helped them 2x their sales velocity by recommending a higher contact per account approach. So they were actually only generating 1 to 2 contacts per account. So we actually doubled that and helped them better segment and do deeper segmentation to better fit their product categories by personas. And once again, they 2x their velocity by doing so. And then I mentioned that other use case earlier, which is really testing new verticals with Square and looking for those key attributes around liquor licenses that help them actually increase their sales cycle as well. And I believe those are, three good ones for us. Very much increasing your sales velocity by, depending on who you're, connecting with, increasing your contact per account has helped, several of our clients. We've also helped clients test new verticals and messaging by doing, deeper segmentation. Then we also help clients identify those buying signals. Those are unique attributes that will kind of help them prioritize who they should go after.
Yeah, no, those are great stories. I can't believe that southern facing.
It was a mouthful. Sorry about that. Whoever's listening to me right now.
I would love to know I would love to have seen the face of the person in your team when that was the request that came in.
We get some interesting ones. I would say our internal team, there's a few attributes that even we enrich for. We found that your standard ICP, okay, the size of your company, who are you selling to? We like to go beyond that. We like to enrich for certain roles that are being that are currently hiring for. If there's any roles that sales roles in different industries, or they're looking for industry-specific sales roles or region, because that's an indicator of growth and expansion. We also like to enrich for the number of salespeople that they have on their team. Mm-hmm. It's another indicator for us. Where ops, if they have sales ops or marketing ops. So basically a lot of those attributes that help us identify the right type of organization that generally sees the value in, having a very focused and structured data strategy. That's, kind of helped us prioritize and kind of filter through, our accounts as well.
Yeah, and the thing I love about you guys too is just the comprehensiveness of what you can get in terms of data, because we've seen there's a lot of great services out there that can do some of that. They can do maybe technology uses. They can do just like a API call info. That's stuff like number of employees on LinkedIn, things like that. But like you said, and we're kind of the same way. We've seen the same things where it's actually sales team size with us is same thing. We're looking at that. That's really what's important to us. And hiring if you have a high number of new posts on Glassdoor that are sales related or something like that, you can really, those are the signals we found for us.
Funding, yeah. Funding rounds. And another area that we support, and we need to do it more internally. Even we need to do it sitting on a data source, but that enrichment, that decay, and because even this conference is around alignment, and really the reason why this topic exists is because of growth orgs. Companies that are looking to grow and they're looking for all those different ways to do so. That's where all the technology, that's where the complexity comes in. That's where the misalignment occurs. Well, because of that growth, people are moving from company to company, and that's where you too get that data decay as well. There's just standard industry turnover. So even for us, we've found that doing consistent enrichment on our data to make sure it's actually accurate. Are we actually targeting customers that will stick with us long term? Did they churn out? Is it the right market tier? So really going back and making sure that we have the most accurate data has helped us just even in planning recently as we're pulling together our go-to market for down market and up market. So
yeah, no, starting with your customer database is just as important as your prospect database in terms of having the intel, right? Because it's all going to inform what you're doing going forward. I love it. And so, Lena, go ahead and give us in your pick. What's the number one most impactful strategy that you've adopted for your team?
Yeah, I would say recently, as we move to an account-based approach, and I know that it's the trend, it's the buzzword, but really what that has done is showed us that alignment across the org isn't driven simply by saying, oh, okay, well, marketing and sales, they're aligned because they agree on who we're targeting. It's really everyone getting into a room and understanding that you cannot execute on this go-to-market strategy without having very detailed coordination. It's very, intentional. And I feel that really when we started to focus on more of an account-based approach and, heading into this year, looking at, moving up market more. And I think that really has helped in getting those key stakeholders in the room every week and really backing into the capacity and making sure that the powers that be, the board, the CEO, everyone understands that, an account-based approach, the reason why we're going an account-based approach is not only because we have the tools and the technology to do so, it's because it makes sense. And it's a different mindset. It's not the same type of, volume and velocity type of approach where you're just driving, an X number of leads. There's the need to work those people through the funnel in a very coordinated way. And if you do that in a coordinated way, you can decrease your sales cycle, which we have, and decrease the cost to acquire, and increase your LTV because you're really taking time to be deliberate about who is your most ideal customer, not who might buy something now and again. And this took a little bit. It took several rounds of iterations on who that ICP was, even for us. You can only have accountability if you agree with what the strategy is and you feel like you can actually do it. So.
No, I love like you said, the detailed coordination, being very intentional between departments and how you're doing things. Yeah, you can't overstate that. I've seen us, here. That's one of the things we're really, really striving for, because we've seen the benefits of it and the negative impacts of doing it halfway. If you're gonna do it, you gotta do it right. I think that's the big name of the game with alignment. You have to just deeply embed it into your entire strategy from a day-to-day standpoint and from a big picture analytics standpoint as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And just, speaking to, the analytics piece, today, we recorded this, what I was reviewing, so on the paid side, in paid advertising, there's several layers of paid advertising. And once again, if you can break down all of those layers, there shouldn't be any surprises. And whether it's, if someone downloads content and they're a named account and a named contact, their conversion rate is probably gonna be a little bit higher than someone that downloaded contact that isn't on our named account list. So even having that level of detail in how you're planning and projecting and setting your benchmarks is extremely powerful. So really looking at, and that's where having that data so that you can go back and understand what has worked in the past, and then having that process set up to efficiently support the strategy that you're attempting to execute on. We too have gotten into trouble in that area as well, where marketing was trying to do some, trying to execute on account-based strategy in some ways, but the process wasn't set up to effectively handle that, right? So I think it's all a learning process, but I really do feel it starts with what are your business goals, and then moving on from there.
Yes, we talk a lot about data, and we talked a lot about strategy, but I think one of the key things here is people and the people on your teams. We're trying to execute these complex strategies and that require a high level of detail and coordination with other departments. And how are you as a leader able to work across the aisle with your other teams and build trust?
So I think building trust, begins with, having that vulnerability and, having an understanding, showing that you care, I think is the first step. So that goes from, the marketing org, has always supported, whether it was product, working directly with the product team or working with sales. And I think, marketing has a unique role when it comes to alignment in, different ways, because you have a kind of a comprehensive view. You have like a bird's eye view on a lot that's happening within the company. And so your ability to, have that context and make those connections is very important. So I would say really understanding all of the pain points in everyone's area is the first way, of building trust. And then having a plan, if you want, product to do X, Y, and Z for you, if you want sales to do X, Y, and Z, if you want marketing to do X, Y, and Z, tell them why, show them the benefit of that in some capacity. And I think it's helped me having that kind of perceived understanding of sales, because I have done inside sales. I've done inside sales, I've done business development, I've done the 100 cold calls a day. And I think that's something that marketers, I'm not saying every marketer out there feels this way, but I think there's a percentage of marketers that really need to take a step back and understand what it feels like to not know what you're going to potentially make next month. That isn't, something that generally a lot of marketers feel. That isn't something that potentially, a lot of products feel. And when it comes to driving alignment, I really feel it's understanding the nuances of the sales cycle and showing that you understand the struggle and you're there to support, moving through those struggles with them, like as a partnership. So I think it begins with, taking the time to care and understand, and then moving on from there.
Yeah. I think that's a great answer. I think showing that you care and taking the time first to understand, and then showing that you understand, and making a very conscious effort to do that, and to just have that as a continuous mantra for how your team operates. I love it. So, Lena, can you give people some more insight now on where they can contact you and where they can learn more about LeadGenius?
Absolutely. It's LeadGenius.com. And you can actually reach me at any point if you have any questions on Lena@LeadGenius.com. You can also reach me via LinkedIn, pretty much everywhere. I'm very reachable.
Great resources, too. We've partnered on 2 ebooks with you guys. Bridging the Gap, The Ultimate Guide to Sales and Marketing Alignment. Love that one. That was a great book that we did with William Wicke and your team. And then the B2B Trends and Tech Guide for 2017, which we also did with your team. Both of those are great resources. So check those out.
I have one more thing for you, Jeremy. I forgot. Sure. We actually just launched, even for non-customers. So following this session, you'll have a link where you can actually sync your database and do a analysis. So we'll audit your database, do a sample data analysis for you, give you an idea of missing fields that you're missing, as well as top contact data that you're missing.
Cool. Well, Lena, I know we both got to run. This has been awesome. Thank you so much. And everybody, we'll see you for the next session for Aligned 2017, the virtual summit dedicated to B2B sales and marketing alignment.